The day my father told me I was getting married, he didn't ask for my opinion. He simply placed a wedding invitation on the table, looked me straight in the eyes, and said, "Everything has already been decided." I thought he was joking until I saw my mother's tears silently falling onto the floor. That's when I realized my future no longer belonged to me. I had never met the man I was about to marry, yet everyone around me acted as if this was the happiest day of my life. The wedding ceremony felt like a dream I couldn't wake up from. Every smile around me looked fake. Every congratulation sounded empty. And every second pushed me closer to a future I never wanted. But nothing could have prepared me for what happened after the ceremony. The moment I walked toward my honeymoon bedroom, my heart started beating faster for reasons I couldn't explain. I slowly placed my hand on the golden door handle and whispered to myself, "Please, let this nightmare finally end." I opened the door and froze. Sitting calmly on the edge of the bed was another woman wearing elegant white clothes, looking at me with eyes full of sadness instead of surprise. She didn't scream. She didn't panic. She simply stood up and quietly said, "I've been waiting for you." My legs almost gave up beneath me. I turned toward my husband, Ethan, expecting him to explain everything, but he couldn't even look into my eyes. His silence hurt more than any lie ever could. I looked back at the woman and asked in a trembling voice, "Who are you?" She closed her eyes for a moment before answering, "My name is Sophia." My heartbeat became louder. "Why are you here?" I asked again. She looked directly into my eyes and softly replied, "Because this room was mine before it became yours." Every word felt like another piece of my heart breaking apart. My husband finally took one slow step toward me, but before he could speak, Sophia gently raised her hand and stopped him. "No more secrets," she whispered. "She deserves the truth." The room became completely silent. I could hear nothing except my own breathing. Then Sophia reached into her handbag, pulled out a small envelope, and carefully placed it in my hands. "Don't open it yet," she said quietly. "Wait until midnight, because after midnight, nothing in this family will ever be the same again." At that exact moment, someone knocked 3 times on the bedroom door, and every face inside the room suddenly turned.
The knocking didn't stop. It came again, slower this time, as if the person outside already knew we were terrified. Nobody moved. Nobody even breathed. Ethan stared at the door with fear written across his face, while Sophia quietly stepped away from the bed and whispered, "It's too early. He wasn't supposed to be here." My hands tightened around the envelope until the paper almost tore apart. "Who is outside?" I asked, but neither of them answered. The third knock echoed through the room, louder than before. Ethan finally forced himself to walk toward the door. But before he reached the handle, the door slowly opened on its own. Standing there was my father. He smiled as if nothing was wrong, straightened his expensive suit, and calmly looked around the room. His eyes stopped on the envelope in my hands for just a second, before he smiled even wider. "I see everyone has already met," he said in a strangely cheerful voice. My heart sank. "Dad? Who is she?" I asked without taking my eyes off him. Instead of answering, he slowly walked inside the room and closed the door behind him. "Some questions are better answered tomorrow," he replied. I had never heard my father's voice sound so cold. Sophia suddenly stepped forward and stood between him and me. "She deserves the truth tonight," she said firmly. My father laughed quietly, almost amused. "Truth?" he said. "Truth has never made anyone happy." Couldn't understand what was happening anymore. Every person in that room seemed to know a secret except me. Ethan looked like he wanted to speak, but every time he opened his mouth, my father glanced at him and he fell silent again. Then my father reached into his pocket and placed an old silver pocket watch on the table. "When this watch reaches midnight," he said softly, "everything will finally be completed." I looked at the watch, then back at him. "Completed? What does that even mean?" My father ignored my question and walked toward the window. Outside, heavy rain had started pouring over the city. Thunder lit up the dark sky for a split second, and in that flash of light, I noticed something strange. My father's reflection wasn't facing the window. It was staring directly at me. I blinked in confusion, and the reflection looked normal again. My breathing became uneven. Sophia leaned closer and whispered so quietly only I could hear her, "Open the envelope before midnight. Because once the clock strikes 12, someone in this room will disappear forever." At that exact moment, the lights throughout the mansion suddenly went completely
Continuous format. Darkness swallowed the entire mansion. The only sound I could hear was the heavy rain crashing against the windows, and my own heartbeat pounding inside my chest. "Nobody move," Ethan whispered. But before anyone could answer, a loud scream echoed from somewhere downstairs. It wasn't just fear. It sounded like someone had seen something impossible. My body froze. Then, one by one, the emergency lights flickered on, filling the hallway outside with a dim red glow. Everything suddenly looked unfamiliar, as if the mansion itself had changed. Sophia grabbed my wrist tightly and pulled me toward the bedroom door. "We don't have much time," she whispered urgently. "If we're going to leave, it has to be now." I looked back at my father, but he hadn't moved an inch. He was still standing beside the window, smiling quietly while staring into the rain. "Dad, what's happening?" I asked, hoping for one honest answer. He slowly turned toward me and calmly replied, "Some doors should never be opened. Ava!" Before I could respond, another scream echoed through the mansion, this time much closer. Ethan quickly opened the bedroom door and looked into the hallway. It was completely empty. The red emergency lights reflected across the polished marble floor, making it look almost like the hallway stretched on forever. We stepped outside together, every footstep echoing through the silent mansion. Family portraits lined the walls, but something felt strange. I stopped walking and stared at one of the paintings. It was the wedding portrait taken only a few hours earlier, but Sophia was standing beside Ethan in the picture, while I wasn't there at all. My heart nearly stopped. "That's impossible," I whispered. Ethan looked at the portrait, and his face turned pale. "That wasn't there before," he said. Sophia quickly pulled me away before I could look at the other paintings. "Don't waste time," she said. "Someone wants you to doubt your own memories." We hurried toward the grand staircase when suddenly I noticed a small silver locket lying on the floor. It looked old, covered in dust, as if it had been hidden there for years. I picked it up and opened it. Inside was a tiny photograph of my mother, holding me as a little girl, and behind the picture was a folded note written in her handwriting. My hands trembled as I unfolded the paper. It contained only one sentence. "If you ever find this, trust Sophia before you trust anyone else." I looked at Sophia in complete disbelief. Before I could ask a single question, the grandfather clock at the end of the hallway began striking midnight, one slow chime after another, and with every chime, the mansion seemed to grow quieter, until the final sound echoed through the darkness and every door inside. The house suddenly swung open at exactly the same moment. The final chime faded into silence, but the mansion didn't return to normal. Every door remained wide open, revealing long, empty hallways that seemed darker than before. A cold breeze swept through the house, making the chandeliers sway gently above us. My heart was racing so fast, I could barely hear my own thoughts. Sophia tightened her grip on my hand and whispered, "Don't look into any room unless I tell you to." I wanted answers, but every answer only created more questions. Ethan suddenly stopped walking and stared toward the end of the hallway. "Did you see that?" he asked quietly. I followed his eyes, but the hallway was empty. "See what?" I asked. He swallowed nervously. Someone was standing there, watching us. Before anyone could move, a bedroom door slowly creaked shut by itself. The sound echoed through the mansion like a warning. Sophia immediately turned toward the sound. "We're running out of time," she said. We hurried downstairs until we reached a large wooden study filled with old books, antique furniture, and family portraits covered in dust. In the center of the room stood an ancient oak desk with a single black box resting on top. My father was nowhere to be seen. The room was completely silent. I slowly walked toward the box and noticed my name, engraved on the lid in elegant gold letters. Ava Carter. My hands trembled as I lifted the lid. Inside was a collection of old photographs, a leather-bound diary, and a sealed letter addressed to me. Before I could open the letter, Sophia gently stopped me. "Read the diary first," she whispered. I opened the diary to the first page and immediately recognized the handwriting. It belonged to my mother. My eyes filled with tears as I read her words. "If you're reading this, it means I couldn't protect you from the choices others made. But remember this, your future is never decided by someone else's past." My breathing became heavier. With every sentence, the diary described years of hidden family conflicts, broken promises, and painful sacrifices. But one page had been torn out completely. Someone removed it, Ethan said as he looked over my shoulder. Sophia nodded slowly. Because that missing page contains the one truth they never wanted you to discover. Just then, a loud crash came from the second floor. It sounded as if something heavy had fallen to the ground. We all looked toward the staircase. Slow footsteps echoed above us, one step at a time, coming closer with every second. Then a familiar voice calmly called my name from the darkness. Ava, I've been waiting for you. My blood ran cold because it wasn't my father's voice.
Every muscle in my body froze. That voice wasn't my father's. It wasn't Ethan's either. Yet somehow, it sounded familiar. The footsteps continued descending the staircase, slow and steady, until a tall elderly woman, dressed in black, finally appeared beneath the dim chandelier. Her silver hair was perfectly tied back, and her calm eyes never left mine. No one spoke. Ethan lowered his head. Sophia took a deep breath. Even the air inside the room felt heavier. The woman smiled gently before saying, "So, after all these years, you've finally come home." I stared at her in complete confusion. "Who are you?" I whispered. She walked closer, stopping only a few feet away. "My name is Eleanor," she replied softly. "I've been protecting your mother as secret for more than 20 years. My heart nearly stopped. "You knew my mother?" I asked. She nodded. "Better than anyone." Before I could ask another question, she reached into her coat and carefully placed an old golden necklace into my hand. The moment my fingers touched it, I recognized it instantly. I had seen my mother wearing it in every childhood photograph. Tears filled my eyes as Eleanor quietly said, "She asked me to give this to you only when you were finally ready to know the truth." My breathing became unsteady. Ethan looked at the necklace and whispered, "I never knew it still existed." Sophia gently looked at me and said, "Everything started with this necklace." I opened the small, heart-shaped pendant attached to it. Inside was a tiny folded photograph. My hands shook as I unfolded it. It showed my mother standing beside a little girl. But the child wasn't me. I looked at Eleanor with disbelief. "Who is she?" Eleanor closed her eyes for a moment before answering, "Your sister." The room became completely silent. "That's impossible," I whispered. "I don't have a sister." Eleanor looked directly into my eyes and calmly replied, "That's what they wanted you to believe." My mind couldn't process what I was hearing. My father had never mentioned another child. My mother had never spoken about anyone else. Ethan slowly stepped forward. "I've known about her for years," he admitted quietly. I turned toward him, feeling my heart break all over again. "You knew?" He lowered his eyes. "I promised to protect the secret until the right time." Tears rolled down my face. Everyone knew except me. Eleanor gently placed her hand on my shoulder. "Not anymore." She then looked toward the large wooden doors at the end of the study. "The answers you've been searching for are behind that door. And once you open it, your life will never be the same again." I slowly turned toward the door, took a deep breath, and reached for the handle, unaware that the truth waiting on the other side would change my family forever. My hand trembled as I slowly pushed the old wooden door open. A cold breeze rushed past me, carrying the scent of old paper and forgotten memories. Inside the room stood shelves filled with dusty boxes, faded photographs, and dozens of family records. In the center was a small wooden cradle covered with a white cloth. My heart pounded as I walked closer. Eleanor quietly whispered, "Everything your father wanted to hide is inside this room?" I carefully lifted the cloth and found an old photo album beneath it. The first page showed my mother smiling while holding 2 newborn babies. Tears instantly filled my eyes because one of them was me. And the other little girl looked exactly like me. Eleanor gently nodded and said, "Yes, she was your twin sister." My knees nearly gave out beneath me. Every memory I had suddenly felt incomplete. "Why would my father hide something like this?" I asked through trembling tears. Eleanor looked toward the window before answering. "Because years ago, your father believed only one child could inherit everything your grandfather left behind. He separated you both, hoping the truth would disappear forever." My breathing became uneven. Ethan slowly stepped beside me and quietly admitted, "The day your father arranged our marriage, he wasn't trying to build a family. He was trying to keep the secret buried forever." Turned toward him with tears running down my face. "So all of this, every lie, every secret, was about money?" Ethan lowered his head and replied, "It started with money, but it destroyed every relationship along the way." Sophia gently held my hand and said, "I stayed because I promised your mother that one day I'd help you learn the truth." I opened the final page of the album and found a handwritten letter from my mother. My hands shook as I read her words. My dearest Ava, if you're reading this, it means the truth has finally found you. Never let hatred decide your future. Forgive those who truly regret their mistakes, but never allow anyone to steal your voice again. Your life belongs to you, not to fear, not to money, and not to anyone else's decisions. I could no longer hold back my tears. For the first time in years, I felt my mother's love surrounding me instead of the weight of my father's choices. Just then, my father quietly walked into the room. His proud expression had disappeared. He looked older, tired, and deeply ashamed. Without saying a word, he slowly removed the family signet ring from his finger and placed it on the table. I spent my whole life protecting wealth, he said softly, and in the process, I lost the people who mattered most. Silence filled the room. I looked at him for a long moment before taking a deep breath. I can't change what you did, I said calmly, but I won't let your mistakes define the rest of my life. My father lowered his head with tears.
Ethan stepped back respectfully, and Sophia smiled through her tears as morning sunlight poured through the windows, filling the room with warmth. At that moment, I realized my story had never been about a forced marriage. It had always been about finding the courage to choose my own future. Sometimes the greatest victory isn't taking revenge. It's finally becoming free. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more emotional stories with unforgettable twists. What kind of emotional story would you like to watch next? Or should we continue with another story in this